And everyone, just so that you know, we are recording. And so if you do not want your face to be on the recording, then you can keep your camera off. But this is only for Phi Upsilon Omicron members to access it. So it will be kept within our organization, just so that you're aware.
All right. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here for tonight's Phi U Chapter Chat. We are very honored to have Dr. Sally Fortenberry. She is our Foundation Director and past National President, and also is the Beta Zeta Chapter Advisor. She's going to be sharing her expertise from the national level, as well as her experience as a Chapter Advisor. And we're going to review the scholarship applications in real time and answer any questions that you may have. If you had a chance to review the flyer associated with tonight's chapter chat, you'll know that we awarded more than $115,000 for 23-24 academic year, and we're excited that so many are interested in applying. So first, I'm going to open up and let our National Advisor Counselor, Dr. Diana Watson-Mail, give a few updates. Diana?
Thank you, Melissa. And I just wanted to share with everyone one new exciting competition, sort of a competition here with Phi Upsilon Omicron. It has just come active. The application is posted on the website, and you can go to membership on the website, and under membership, you can scroll down and it is posted there, and you can click on it, and it's called a digital poster contest. We really think this would be a really good opportunity for chapters to use their creative skills and create a poster that all the Phi Upsilon Omicron chapters could use. We want it to be sort of universal, so it could have illustrations, it could have whatever you would think that might be attractive, multiple pictures, multiple things on it. It could have on it our purposes. There are specific guidelines for it, and it is all identified on that where it's posted. It's also posted in Greek chat, so you can get it there also. We want this to be exciting and motivating, and something you want it digital, so you can actually use it for your local chapters. There should be a bottom little open area where your chapter could personalize it, so you could put your chapter's name, contact information, so everyone could use that same thing, and we could be sort of similar in our marketing content. So that's our excitement about it. I thought also, like, if your school has like a TV monitor in the hallway, it's digital, so it could very easily be posted there, and it could be advertisement for your Phi Upsilon Omicron at your local school. So this is a new thing. It's just been posted. There are going to be awards for it. Melissa has just posted the location on the chat form where you can get to it at. And the first prize will be $300. Second prize, I believe, is $175, and the third or $150, and the third place will be $75. And so there is going to be awards for the first three items. It will be announced at Conclave in the fall. So whoever wins, it will be shown at Conclave in the fall, and then it will be active, and you will have access to it, and you can use it for your local chapter. So we hope that you'll get involved. The explanations are very explicit on what you need to do, and legal technicalities and illustrations and the size that we want. So please be involved and get someone in your chapter to participate. One entry per chapter for the digital poster contest. So that's the new thing. We're excited about it. It's active, due May 1st by 5 o'clock Eastern time. So it will need to be turned in. The form will need to be filled out. So that's the new thing. Another little reminder, remember, we have chapter spotlights, and I've just received one, and I just sent out the certificate today to that chapter. That is also listed on RigTrack and also under membership on the website. And it's, you can click down and you can click on that and get the chapter spotlight. Any activity that your chapter does that promotes by you, you use that, click a picture, attach a picture, fill it out, turn it in, and you'll be recognized on Facebook, our media pages, and also the candle. So 2 exciting things your chapter can do, but be sure and think about the digital poster contest, because you want to be recognized and be identified with that award and be used nationally, your ideas. So good luck, everyone. Have any questions? Ask Melissa at National, or my email is actually on the application too. So good luck and best wishes. And Susan, you want to mention a few things?
You're muted, Susan.
Kyle, did you want to give the date of Founders Day, or did you want me to do that? I didn't know when Melissa said.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. So
Okay.
on February 15th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to have a special Founders Day chapter chat that's family reunion orientated. We want to have the largest chapter chat that we've had. So we have 37 tonight. So we're shooting for more, and there'll be more information coming out. We have a special guest speaker, Gayla Randall, who is last Conclave's honorary initiate, and she's going to talk about the encompassing family of family and consumer sciences and all the different details and organizations out there and how they all interconnect. And so she's going to be our guest speaker along with some games and prizes. And we look forward to having everybody join us for that. Again, February 15th, there'll be a Zoom link that comes out through an email that'll talk about it a little bit more, and we'll promote it some. But February 15th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be looking forward to seeing everybody there for our family reunion on a chapter chat. And thanks for hosting tonight's, and I hope we get a ton of scholarships with 37 people here. I hope we see at least 37 applicants. So that would be awesome. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Kyle, I just want to let you know that the entire chapter of Beta Upsilon from Stephen F. Austin happens to be zooming in as an organization. So they appear as one.
All right, so we can add more numbers to that. So I'm looking forward to those applications coming through, and maybe we have some other chapters that are doing the same thing. So that's outstanding. So thanks for joining us.
I have to go turn my lights back on.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Robertson. And Susan, did you have any other comments or updates?
Well, just, number one, I might just say they just posted there are 19 of them watching it from Stephen F. Austin. So you can add that to our numbers. Just very quickly, be thinking about your professional project. This spring is the time to definitely be working on that. It's due May 1st, and the guidelines are on RigTrack, and you'll be hearing more about it. So that's all that I have, I guess. With no further ado, Sally, you all are in for a real treat with Sally Fortenberry talking to us this evening. So Sally, we'll turn that over to you.
Thanks, Susan. So Melissa is going to be, I guess I should say, my co-pilot. She's going to share her screen, and we are going to start from the phiu.org website. So all of you students, ready to go, Melissa? It went away. There it goes.
Okay, can you see the right screen?
Yes, so we got the phiu.org screen. And I think we've got, yes. So students, if you have your computers, you can actually follow along. I'm just going to walk you through the initial steps. First of all, you can, once you hit phiu.org, you're going to see the tabs at the top. You'll also see in the little purple, it'll say newsletter, shop, accept invitation, and login. You do not have to do anything with those at this point in time. What you do need to do if you are wanting to access scholarships and awards or fellowships, you will go to the drop-down menu where it says scholarships. If you are a continuing student, scholarships apply to you. That is, you are a continuing undergraduate student. If you are a graduate student, you've been accepted into a graduate program, and you know where you're going to be, then fellowships will be applicable to you. If you are a graduating undergraduate student, that is, if in May you will graduate or August you will graduate, then the collegiate awards will apply to you. Collegiate awards can also apply to individuals that are applying to graduate school and yet have not been accepted, but they're graduating as an undergraduate and they've been an active Phi Upsilon Omicron member as an undergraduate. And once they get accepted to their graduate program, next year they can come back and apply for those fellowships. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to walk through the scholarships first. And so, Melissa, if you'll click on the scholarship tab. Okay, so this is what it will look like if you just click on the scholarship tab, and you'll note that it basically highlights the scholarship application directions and scholarship application apply now. It's pretty obvious right there in front of you what it is and what you need to do next, and that would be click on it. So you are going to click on that, and so it's pretty easy. Now, Melissa has 2 roles. So she is a headquarters, and then she's also a member at Beta Epsilon. And anyway, so most of you all as undergraduate students, you have one role, and that is you are a member of a chapter at your university or college. And so you would click on that link, and it would basically be the chapter's name. And this will show up. This is what you will actually see on your computer screen. So if you're following along with me, you will see this information. Of course, you won't have Melissa's name by it, but that's okay. And we're going to look at the scholarship general directions. Melissa will click on that. And we'll open this up first because it is detailed, and it's important that if you don't want to flip back and forth amongst and between screens, or you don't have 2 monitors, it might be a good idea for you to actually download the scholarship general directions or the awards general directions or the fellowship general directions, whichever one applies to you, so that you can go back and refer to it. First thing I want to point out to all of us who are not in the Eastern time zone, the scholarship, fellowships, and awards deadline is due March 1, 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. So just don't let the time get by you, because if you miss this deadline, you will not be able to submit an application. It's a hard deadline for your application. And I'll show you the application. And it's all electronic. But again, especially those of you who are, and I saw that Loma Linda was on, if you're on the West Coast, you will have to put you at, I guess, an alarm on your calendar to remind you that it's not necessarily Pacific time. This is 11:59 Eastern time. So just a reminder there. That's the first thing. And then if, as a student, you have not set up your Greek Track account, you are in there because you were actually initiated, and if your chapter has paid your dues, then you're there. But you actually have to personally set up your account. That is, there's a password that you have to input. So your name, and you're connected with your chapter. And so if you have not been into Greek Track yet, you'll have to set that account up with a password. And you set up your own password. It has nothing to do with your university, like single sign-on password. It's your own personal password. So something that you can remember, maybe your chapter name or something. So that's important to do. And then the next thing I want to point out to you really is 2 electronic requests. So go ahead, and if you know that you're going to apply for one of these categories, request an official electronic copy of your transcript to be directly sent to Phi Upsilon Omicron National Office. That's to national@phiu.org. Some universities do charge for this request. Remember, we are potentially awarding up to $7,000 in one scholarship. We have awards that we have up to $1,000, and then so they vary. And whatever your university is charging, I think it's worth the time and the money and the effort to go ahead and request that. You have to actually go to the registrar's office and request it. Susan?
Sally, could I just add something there?
Sure.
Most transcripts today come from, the word won't come to me right now.
Parchment.
Melissa, parchment, yes.
Yeah.
Most universities do not, and you go on parchment, and you can go to your university online. I just had to do this personally not long ago.
Yep.
I would do it in a timely manner to make sure you get it, but I did mine on a Sunday afternoon and filled it out through Oklahoma State University and went to parchment. And within about 15 minutes, I had my transcript. But
Right.
I wouldn't wait till the last minute for it. But most universities today are not. Actually, yours may, Sally, I don't know, but most of them, ours doesn't. UCO doesn't anymore either.
That's on the registrar site, the link. So the link is there. So
yes,
would have no idea to go to parchment. They just go to the website, the registrar's website, and it'll say,
and then it'll direct them. Yes.
then it directs them. So, and in essence, you're not sending it to yourself. You're sending it to national@phiu.org. So don't send it to yourself. Send it to the national office, because they need an official transcript, and that official transcript has to come directly from the university at which you are attending. If you are applying for fellowships and you happen to be on the chapter chat tonight, as a fellowship applicant, you may have to request a couple of transcripts if where you are attending graduate school doesn't already have those undergraduate transcripts attached to it. So you just may have to do a little bit of investigating first. Anyone else have any experiences with transcript issues? I know that a lot of times students want to just send a scanned copy that they've received, and that's not acceptable at National. It has to be an official transcript coming directly from the university or parchment.
Yeah, sorry, I have a question here. What about transcripts from country outside the US?
Henry, what you would probably want to determine if that information is actually on the transcript where you are at university now. So to get into the university where you are attending, you probably had to submit a transcript.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that information is included on that transcript at the university where you're attending, then you do not have to get another one from outside the universe or outside the US.
Yeah, and I can add to that. I do have experience where we did receive one transcript from another country where those, courses did not transfer to the new transcript in the States. And we can just work online or offline through that, Henry, if you have that need. In that case, we did it kind of old school, where an official copy is sealed in an envelope by the registrar's office or the equivalent with a signature across the seal. So we can find a way to navigate that if that's a special circumstance for you. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So, but that's a good question, because there might be other people that fit into that situation. So if you'll go to number C, or letter C, number 1, this has to do with letters of recommendation. Only 2 letters of recommendation are still required this year. This is a change from 2 years ago. So if you submitted a scholarship or a fellowship or award application a couple of years ago, then, it was 3. This year it's 2. There is an electronic procedure outlined. So whoever is writing those recommendations must know that they are going to get information from Phi Upsilon Omicron if you include their name and email on your application. So you have to know, number 1, their email address, and number 2, you need to ask the individual before you include their name on your application, and let them know that they will be receiving an electronic email, literally, from national@phiu.org, letting them know that they have been, or their name has been submitted as a recommender for you. So it would actually say the person's name. So if I were applying, it would say, Sally Fortenberry has submitted your name as a recommender for a Phi Upsilon Omicron scholarship. And then whoever I sent that to, say I sent it to Melissa, Melissa then has to say, yes, I will recommend her, or no, I will not. So hopefully I have asked Melissa in advance if she is willing to be a reference for me on my application to Phi Upsilon Omicron. And if she says yes, then I will let her know that she will receive this information from Phi Upsilon Omicron, or national@phiu.org. That's who it's coming from. And that recommender must make sure that they basically say, yes, I recommend this person. And then another email will come and says, here's the link to your recommendation. So basically you have to say, yes, I am going to be a recommendation. I approve. I was asked in advance. And then once you click that, then another email will come to you from national@phiu.org, and it will say, click on this to submit your recommendation. It's not really as cumbersome as I'm making it, but students or graduate students, y'all need to just be professional in your approach to requesting for individuals to be your references, your advisors. One advisor has to be a reference for you on your application. So make sure you let them know in advance, or ask them in advance if they would be willing to be a reference for you. You can have another faculty member, you can have another advisor across campus, someone who knows you really well, especially your academic achievements, your leadership involvement across campus, your service commitments across campus. You can have all of your advisors or both of your advisors write a recommendation, but at least one has to be a Phi Upsilon Omicron, your chapter, the advisor for which you are a chapter member. Scholarships, that's easy because you're still an undergraduate. Fellowships, a little bit more challenging. And Melissa, you may want to speak to that, because many times where an applicant for a fellowship, there's not a Phi U chapter at that university or college where the individual is getting their graduate degree. So they may have to go back to their.
Yeah, the fellowship application does vary a little bit. You can do your academic advisor, and you can still provide, especially if you're at the same institution or still connected to your Phi U chapter advisor. But on the fellowship application, that's not required. So it varies slightly for that reason, exactly, Sally, as you mentioned.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so those are the 2 big important things on the electronic application directions. And then we go down to the bottom, and there is really just a checklist. And that's why I say download this information in advance so that you can go, okay, I've got my membership, it's active, and I have my account set up on GreetTrack. And of course, I've got this alert on my calendars and my phone and everything where it applies to make sure I complete this by March 1, 11:59 Eastern time. And then, of course, making sure I request that electronic transcript to be sent to the national@phiu.org. and then requesting my references to be a recommender for my scholarship, award, or fellowship application. So that's kind of your applicant checklist right there in one location. I want to clarify one thing, and Melissa, if you want to highlight number 4. So you read this and you may go, oh, I have till March 10th. No, you don't have until March 10th. Yeah, March 1, your application has to be submitted. If you have not submitted an application online by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time on March the 1st, then you do not have the ability to apply. Now, if you submit, we'll say March the 9th, 2024, and your recommenders haven't gotten their references in, the recommendation letters in yet, and your transcript hasn't been received, you have until March the 10th for those to be received at the national office. This is really just to give those entities that are outside sometimes your control to get those in. However, you are encouraged to, number 1, follow up with those individuals you have confirmed will be recommenders for your application. Make sure that they have submitted their recommendation, and hopefully you have already requested your transcript. So there is a 10-day grace period only for those 2 categories, not the application. The application drop dead day is March 1, 2024, 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. Is that right? Okay. If anyone has questions yet, otherwise we'll go to the application. Okay. Melissa, I don't know if we have any chat information or chat questions.
I don't see any questions. But
Awesome.
anyone feel free to unmute and ask if you have one.
I had a question.
Kylan?
Yes. Sorry, my camera's not working, but
It's okay.
in terms of the recommendation letter, if we had a staff member of the university as a part of a service program we were a part of, would that also be applicable?
Yes, of course. As long as one of your recommendations comes from your chapter advisor, then definitely, if that person can speak to your, basically your interest and focus on service and your commitment to service, that's perfectly fine.
Thank you so much.
And Sally, there's a question in the chat from Zach. It says, are post baccalaureate students still able to apply the same way? So Zach, feel free to jump in. Do you mean you're planning to apply for graduate school?
I was planning on applying for the master's program at UCA, but I'm a post-bac student now, just taking a few required classes. Then when I have those classes, I'll be able to fully apply.
Oh, okay. So you're undergraduate leveling courses.
Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, I was going to say, are
Yes.
you an undergraduate taking leveling courses for graduate school?
Or I would be post-bac since I already had a degree, but they are undergraduate courses.
Okay.
Will you still be continuing with undergraduate courses in the fall of 2024?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a little bit unique, but I would encourage a scholarship application, wouldn't you, Sally, since it's not a graduate program?
Correct. Right. And so as long as you're affiliated with your Phi Upsilon Omicron chapter and you're still working on undergraduate courses, then undergraduate scholarship would be appropriate.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I have.
Yep. And then just to jump in and clarify, if you are a graduate student, I know we're talking about scholarships right now, but if you are if you are graduating in spring 2024, with your undergraduate degree and you are applying for a graduate program beginning the fall of 24, but have not yet been accepted, you can still apply. You can apply for an award, but you can also apply for a Phi U fellowship and just put the information for the institution that you hope to, or, you know, are likely to be accepted by. And then you can let me know at national@phiu.org once you've been accepted or if you haven't been accepted, so that we can make sure that our records are accurate for the review committee. But if you've not yet been accepted, but you are planning to apply to graduate school in fall 24, you want to apply for an award and a fellowship. You can only receive one, but definitely apply for both.
Yeah, for those doing their masters now, they can't be able to apply for the scholarship.
Now, say that again, Henry. I missed
Yeah,
that.
for the scholarship, is it basically for undergrad, or those doing masters, are they going to apply?
Scholarships for undergrads only, and fellowships for masters or PhDs.
Okay.
Awards are for people who are graduating.
For people that are graduating, as in those graduating from undergrad or both undergrad and graduate.
Generally, awards are for undergraduate students that are graduating like in May or August of 2024 for this round of awards.
Okay, so fellowship is only a kind of scholarship for the graduate only.
Yes, yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Melissa, if you'll pull up our application and we'll just walk through that real quickly. And if y'all have questions, you're thinking about it, write them down and we'll get back to them. So there is a scholarship application we're going to just walk through. There's a sample one, but the actual application is easier for me to show you what you're going to see when you get there. And you might want to enlarge it on whatever screen you're looking, your own Zoom. So you may be on your phone, you may also be on a computer. But this particular application is centered on the page. So it looks like it's smaller than it actually is. And it should say 2024, 2025. Uh-oh. We went away.
Did that help or did it go away?
It went away. Yeah.
All right, let me try this again. I'm gonna see if I can make it bigger.
Okay.
Did that help at all?
Yeah, so that we'll just say, yeah, that's good. That's excellent. Yeah, it's larger now. Okay, so again, this is scholarships for continuing undergraduate students. And continuing undergraduate students, if you're graduating in December of 2024, you're still eligible for an undergraduate scholarship because you are not graduating until December 2024. Again, it reiterates the fact that you really need to download that scholarship application direction and the checklist. That's right there at the front of this application. And then highlighted in red for you again are the times, the date for you to remember, again, put in your calendar so that you do not forget. Okay, if you want to scroll down, Melissa. There we go. Most of this first information is about you. So everybody should know this information about themselves. If you are not sure how to identify or figure your cumulative GPA, ask your advisor. We all pretty much know how to determine cumulative GPAs if you're not sure where to find it, even on your degree progress reports or however you keep up with those cumulative GPA points. Phi U chapter where you're initiated, most of you are still at that chapter where you are actively involved. You may not be. And if you are not sure, you can reach out to Melissa, who will identify the chapter where you were initiated. Say, for instance, if somebody transferred from TCU Beta Zeta, they were initiated here and transferred to Texas Tech, and now is an active member at Texas Tech, and they forgot what the name of our chapter is currently, they could just reach out to Melissa and say, yeah, it's Beta Zeta, so you would put that there. And this is really just to clarify that you are, in fact, a Phi U member and when you were initiated and what chapter you were initiated. So a couple of things you might may or may not know or remember if you've transferred from one university to another. The next information is about your Phi U Chapter Advisor. I hope you all know their name because that's really critical. And of course, where you are in school. And then this is a question that a lot of my students will ask. What's the overall Family and Consumer Sciences or related unit name? Because our members at Beta Zeta, they come from 4 different departments. And so depending on where your major is housed, that's going to be your overall Family and Consumer Sciences or related unit name. So my students that are Phi U members will say fashion merchandising. We have nutritional sciences, we have child development, we have Department of Design for interior design majors. So going to be a little bit different for wherever you are, but it's basically where you are housed. And if you're under an umbrella unit as identified here, such as human ecology, applied human sciences, family and consumer sciences, makes it even easier. But a lot of times we're split up in different areas. So if you're confused about that, talk to your advisor. This is the other thing you need to ask your advisor. This is very, very, very important because the advisor will be receiving your checks. When you receive a scholarship, which everybody who applies, of course, needs to think positively, it goes directly to that advisor's address. And I always am amazed when students put down, like for TCU, they'll just put TCU, Fort Worth, Texas. Well, that's not going to get to me for about, 3 or 4 months after Melissa has mailed those. And in fact, sometimes they don't even get here. So you ask your advisor, what is your address? Sometimes advisors will say, put my home address so that I know it will get to me in a timely manner, as opposed to going through university mailing services. They will tell you the best address to use here. And that's where, as a scholarship recipient, the checks will be sent. That's different for awards that comes directly to you. And it's different for fellowships that also comes directly to you. So just remember, undergraduate scholarship recipients will have their checks sent to your advisor. Why? Because you need to be still enrolled at that university or college to receive your check. If you have decided not to return, then you do not receive your scholarship check or award because you're not there anymore. So that's important. Their email, you probably know, and you probably, you may or may not know their phone, but again, ask the advisor the phone number. And generally the phone is used just to follow up. Melissa will follow up and say, call and say, I sent your scholarship checks and I've just received them back. Can you tell me a better address to send them to you? So sometimes there are critical need to give a call to that advisor. Okay, so you get to classification. That has to do with you. So what's your major? What's your year in school? What's the degree? BS, BA, BFA. Again, this is undergraduate scholarships, expected graduation date, all of those things you should be aware of. And that's not something that you have to hunt for. This next information is a little bit tricky. Academic unit administrator, very similar to the scenario that I just mentioned about Beta Zeta. We have members who come from 4 different departments. Well, we have members who actually come from 2 different colleges. So the name of the unit administrator is the college dean, wherever you are housed. So my child development and nutritional sciences majors will have the College of Science and Engineering. The dean is their unit administrator. For the departments of design and fashion merchandising, they will have the College of Fine Arts dean. I encourage you to speak to your advisor and ask them, who is our college's dean? Because this is for promotional purposes. They will receive a letter congratulating you as a student who is in that college having received this particular scholarship. So it elevates Phi U in the minds of your the highest administrator for your college. And it also elevates Phi Epsilon Omicron in the minds of those administrators. So it's really important that it gets to the right person. I always try to send that information out to all of the members and say, here's for the College of Science and Engineering, here's for the College of Fine Arts. This is the information you need for academic administrators. Because you are not expected probably to know that. And so talk to your advisors. Okay, current status of your degree. This is you. This is information about your college, I guess you'd say, career. If you've been at one institution, great. If you've been at more institutions, okay, you can put those on here. This is not about taking a course in the summer at a community college. You don't have to list that here. This is basically if you did 2 years at one institution, transferred, and then finished up in another institution. That's what you want here. We'll move on down. Sorry, Melissa, you're writing and doing more. Okay, so this is about you. So it's like filling out your resume again, but in written form. So you're going to talk about all the honors and recognitions you've received. This can be on or off campus. So don't just limit it to what you may have been involved in or engaged in on campus. It can also be with involve community service, your professional service, things that you have done through Phi Epsilon Omicron. If you have been involved with other organizations on campus, because every university has different types of organizations. So include those. So there are student chapters of most every one of our majors that may be housed on your campus. So do not forget those types of involvements and activities. And then also things that are outside of your major. So if you're involved in student government, if you're involved in as an athlete, if you're involved in any of the community organizations, nonprofit organizations, whether it's the Humane Society or CASA or Ronald McDonald House or any of those other community organizations, then be sure to include this. And you have the ability, that's not that small. You're typing it out, so you can add all that information to this to these lists. So again, it's really elaborating on your engagement and involvement. Okay, move on down. Your professional goals and how those goals contribute to family and consumer sciences. And this is really an essay. So you have 500 words or less a space to include here. And I would make sure that you talk about, again, your professional goals once you graduate, but how Phi Epsilon Omicron fits within these professional goals, how your major, how your minor, how your involvement and engagement with the professional project. All of these things can lead into, how you will use the knowledge that you're gaining through not only your major, but also through Phi Epsilon Omicron to be a contributing member of society once you graduate. So do use this as a way to elaborate. A lot of times students will actually type this up in a Word doc so that they can check the spelling. Jotform is not great at checking spelling, but anyway, you can do this and then copy and paste it and put it in here since you do have lots of room and you want it to look good and read well and really speak to who you are as an individual and a professional in Phi Epsilon Omicron. Okay, ready to move down? This is where you put your two references, reference 1, reference 2, one should be your advisor. You can have two advisors. It can be another professor. It could be a staff member. It could be not professional. I mean, not your Phi U advisor, but it could be your actual academic advisor. So it could be your coach. So just make sure that you give them under title who they are, making sure in advance that they've confirmed that they will actually provide a recommendation for you. And then you need to know their email. So reference 1, their name and their email, and then reference 2, their name and their email, because that information will be used to be sent directly to their inbox coming from national@phiu.org. And they need to know that that's coming, because once you hit submit on this application, it's going to go to their inbox. So don't wait till after you submit this application and then go, oh, I forgot. Will you be my recommendation? Do my recommendation for my Phi U scholarship, because they've already received that and they may not be looking for it. Okay. So again, has some directions. Let's go down and let's identify all the different scholarships that you're eligible for. You'll note under the scholarship listing, these you are automatically going to be considered for. The Century, the Challenge, the Kluel, the Kloss-Bernitsky-Clark, the Fortune, Golden Anniversary, and so on. You do not have to click anything to be considered for those applications, mainly because as a Phi U member, you're already I guess you would say eligible for all of these, just as a member today. There are others that are, I guess you would say, optional, and we encourage everybody to consider these because these are very significant scholarships in terms of financial value. They do require you to indicate your financial need. So the financial statement is required for these three: the Phyllis Howe, the Margaret Jerome Sanson, and the Lillian Schuster. So you'll note that there are a couple of things that it says. If you are a non-traditional student, that generally means that you do not fit within the 18 to 23 year old range. So it means you're non-traditional. Margaret Jerome says basically we give preference to dietetics or food and nutrition major. However, if there is not an applicant that is a dietetics or food nutrition major, then all other applicants will be considered as long as they provided that financial statement. And one of the recommendations is from a chapter advisor. And then the Phyllis Howe is just basically says, I need a financial statement as well. So if you click on one of those, and I'll let Melissa click on that, and we'll just go down and I'll show you the financial statement. It's not a financial statement from the IRS. I don't need your W-2s. Basically, you have to estimate your financial needs, and it will ask you, what is your weekly or monthly or quarterly or annual take home? If you have a job, you can estimate that. How much is your parent or your parents contributing to your education? Have you received any grants? What's in your savings? What scholarships have you received? And again, these are estimates. Have you had to take out any loans? If so, what's the amount? Do you have any other personal needs, such as child support or alimony? Do you have relatives that might be helping? And any other things? And so what's the total income there that you might have available to you? And then from that, we look at your expenses, and your expenses in terms of tuition, fees, books, and you can see all of these areas. And these, again, are estimates. If you know that you are responsible for at least all or partial of the expenses required to be in college, then you probably know what those expenses are. And again, these are our estimates. So don't stress out trying to look for documentation. You may not find it, and unless, of course, you are very in tune to paying attention to those types of details. But this really makes you eligible for even more scholarships than if you did not fill them out. And Melissa, you might want to mention some things here, or Susan, because y'all have reviewed these before or previously.
I think you
I
gave a
jotted-
great explanation, Sally. I can't see
Yeah.
Susan's face, but go ahead, Susan.
Oh, I did jot down a few notes that I was just going to emphasize because I did this for 3 years. I judged these and I was responsible for this. And so I'm just going to speak to both students and advisors. So if you advisors will kind of stay on the students, but really the student must confirm with the references, preferably before, because there's been many instances where the reference got that, they didn't know what it was, they had no clue, they deleted it. It saves Melissa a lot of time if we may never know that actually, but we did happen to. So what Sally said, I just re-emphasize, you must confirm with your references, get the correct addresses and email addresses and everything for that. And also I want to say, I know not all universities refer to all of these programs as FCS. And so I've had the question come to me, well, I can't be in Phi U because we don't have FCS, or we're not FCS. Well, whatever, and again, advisors, if you can explain that to your students, like at OSU, I think they're called human sciences. And so all those areas that Sally mentioned, nutrition and fashion and education and all of that falls under the FCS umbrella, but all universities don't refer to it as that. So not be sure and ask questions, and advisors, please tell them that any of those areas are do that. I say be sure to include all of your activities, leadership, and service under those last questions that Sally, where you write the essay and you fill out your activities and things. Sometimes people are so vague on that, and the more you do, the more likely you are to be considered. And I'd almost say everybody fill out a financial need statement, because as you saw, some of them say preference given to a dietetic student. And sometimes there hasn't been a dietetic student to give that award to, but we cannot give it to anyone that does not have a financial statement. So be sure to do that. And I complete everything, just like this is a job application. You want to fill in every blank. You want to be as precise as possible. It's very rewarding to be able to give out this money, and so we want to give it to you. And so when we get applications that are pretty vague, you're like going, oh gosh, we can't even consider this person. So those are my tips. Melissa, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was gonna
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, I was going to follow up and just mention about these additional scholarships with specific requirements. It's very similar to the top 3, where you have to have a financial statement. These don't require financial statements. They have preference given to certain categories of students. However, there are only some that you may not be able to apply for, because when it says preference, then generally that means that if we have a non-traditional student that applies, then we're going to try to give that scholarship to them. But if we don't have a non-traditional student, that is someone who's not fitting in with the 18 to 23 age group, then we're going to give it to someone who is qualified for the Treva Kittner, or I think the one of the financial ones as well. But go ahead and click on all of these. Even if you're not fashion design, construction, textiles, but you happen to be child development, if there's somebody who doesn't meet that preference and you do, then you'll get the scholarship, because we want to make sure that all the scholarships are given out, and we do not keep money in the bank and not give it to the students that are deserving. So just go ahead and click all of these, because they say preference. That just basically means that We prefer to give it to someone who fits these criteria, but if we can't, we're going to give it to a Phi U student who's also deserving.
Sally, can I clarify something that I heard?
You bet.
So when we say education, we mean FCS education, not
Correct.
education in general, like an elementary school teacher or a high school biology teacher. It has to be FCS education related and a major.
Right, and I don't know that elementary ed majors would be in Phi Upsilon Omicron. Yeah, so it's our family consumer sciences education programs. I know at Texas Tech they have that. Maybe at Stephen F. Austin, they possibly have that. Might be quite a. I don't know if Oklahoma has it. FCS education.
Oklahoma State University, I think, is that. Do they still have it, Diana?
Okay.
Okay. They're the only ones in our state that has the FCS education. I'm sorry. Yes, I meant that, but I didn't specify FCS education.
Thanks, Kyle. Okay, Melissa, if you'll go on down and we'll wrap this up. We've got about 4 minutes. All right, so you have to sign the application indicating that you understand that everything you indicated is, of course, true to the best of your knowledge. And basically then you say agree. I have read and understand the scholarship application directions, so don't forget to not click that little box. This is going to give the similar rules. And then this is going to tell you that, say, for instance, you started this application tomorrow night and you're not ready really to tell your or ask your for your references. Save your application. You can save it. You do not have to finish in one sitting. You can save it and then come back to it because it's going to be saved as a draft. That's really critical because a lot of students will start it and they think, oh, I can't finish it, so I'm just going ahead and submit it. Don't do that. Wait till you finish it completely and you've already gotten those references and they know to look for your the information coming from National Phi U. So Melissa, if you'll show where it says save at the bottom. Okay, so there's the save. And then if you want to preview your answers here, you can preview your answers. You still haven't submitted anything. Okay, so we're saving it. We can preview the answers. We can make sure everything is filled in. If y'all are like me, and I know students are not, I like to print it to make sure what it looks like. If you want to do that, of course, but previewing is just as good. You see how it says print. Okay, so once you hit submit, and that's after when you hit save, and it's all ready. Where's your submit button? Submission is confirmed basically with a green check mark. So it's going to pop up on your browser or on your phone because there is a mobile application for this, the scholarship application, fellowship and awards. And that green check mark basically says that everything was submitted. Okay. If you don't get the green check mark, something went wrong.
And you can't show that right now, I don't think, because nothing's filled out. I think it won't let you.
I can't. So, yeah. So what'll happen, like if I were to hit preview answers at the bottom, as Sally's just mentioned, it's going to give me a bunch of red highlighted boxes to say, I need to go back and fill in all these things. But once everything is complete, you will be able to hit submit, and you also will receive a copy. You'll receive an email notification. So if those things don't happen, do not assume that your application was submitted. And even if you did everything correctly, maybe your internet timed out, something happened, feel free to email me and double check. Because I can look that up pretty quickly, but you'll see a green check mark and you will get also an email notification once it has been submitted correctly. And just, I don't want to jump ahead of what Sally's going to say to close things out, but also double check, excuse me, that your references are receiving their emails. So I think I posted in the chat earlier, but those things, despite our best efforts, can get stuck in junk or spam folders. So again, as Sally mentioned, when you're asking those references ahead of time, and Susan said too, they know to look for it. So when they don't get it, they can ask you, but also really as a student applicant, it should be your responsibility to ensure that, hey, did you get that email? Did you check your junk or spam? And make sure that we get that in, because that's usually my biggest issue with not having completed applications.
Excellent. Well, I guess probably my closing remarks, since it is now 7:30 or later, and my watch is 7:31 my time in Texas, in North Texas, is that just don't forget to apply. We have a lot of money and we want to give it away, and it doesn't do the national office Ed Foundation any good not to be able to help our Phi Upsilon Omicron members. And so if you have questions, you're always welcome to email me, of course, Melissa. Talk to your advisors of your own tonight. You all can email me or Melissa, but more importantly, just encourage your students to apply for these scholarships, awards, and fellowships so that we can give them some money.
I don't even mind if they email me as well. I don't mind, if I can assist in any way.
Excellent. So Susan Miller and I don't know if our emails are on here, but we can provide that in some form or fashion. Anyone have any questions? Any of our students have questions? I see some of my students. I'm really excited that you all joined on, because we've been quite successful in the last couple of years.
I want to go over, this is Karen in Wisconsin. I want to go over again, when you say advisors should submit a letter or sign or whatever, you really do mean advisor for our chapter, not just the advisor that they have for their curriculum.
Yeah, so one has to be the chapter advisor, and then they can have an academic advisor if they want, if that academic advisor knows them well enough to be able to speak to their academic achievements, their professionalism, their commitment to service. But one has to be the chapter advisor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And again, you choose your references based on whether or not they can speak to your skills and your strengths and how they fit within kind of the Phi U mission and vision. Definitely. But one has to be a chapter advisor to say, I know that person, and they are a member of my chapter. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, everyone apply. Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, everyone please apply, because I know there's times when we didn't have enough people apply and we couldn't give out all the money. And so that's kind of sad when you've got money to give to students and you can't give it to them because they didn't apply for it. So I just say apply, be precise, and we'll look forward to congratulating you at Conclave this year.
Yeah, in 2024, October.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll use that as an opportunity to throw out October 3rd through 5th, 2024. We will be in Menominee, Wisconsin for Conclave. So maybe fundraise with your chapters, talk about sending a delegate. And also, while we've been on the call, I've had a few messages in chat about not being able to access the scholarship. So first things first, chances are we do not have dues for you. It doesn't mean you weren't initiated, but maybe they haven't been submitted to us yet, or you're missing from a recent initiation report. So definitely email me, national@phiu.org, and communicate with your chapter advisor and president to ensure we get those records updated so that you can access those scholarships in time. So check that now.
Definitely.
And thank you, Sally.
And
thank you.
You'll be sending out the link to where everybody can find the recording if they were not able to join. They weren't able to join us. Yep.
Yes, we'll put that on our YouTube channel as well.
Okay. Thank y'all. I'm going to turn off the recording.